All right, welcome back to mapping your move to Toledo, Ohio, and the surrounding area, Northwest Ohio, Perrysburg, all those suburbs. Today, we're going to be deep diving into Perrysburg, Ohio, the southernmost suburb, if you will, if you don't count Bowling Green, of the Toledo metro area. So stick around and follow along, and we're going to deep dive in on the map. In Perrysburg, you can see the map right here. Um, Perrysburg is like our southernmost suburb, outside of Bowling Green, which is just south down here. But it is, our southernmost suburb if you're counting stuff that's actually in the Toledo metro area. So the map here is showing our main 475, 75 circle. And just to kind of give you an idea of the outline of Perrysburg, this kind of gives you the idea of where we're at. So Perrysburg kind of runs the river's the north or northeast boundary. So Maumee is just to the north of it, and then you've got all of this out here is Perrysburg. All of this out here is pretty much Perrysburg, and then Rossburg kind of starts on the other side of 23 here. So like I said, we're going to deep dive into this. I want to kind of give you a general idea of where Perrysburg is in comparison to some other big landmarks in the Toledo area. So, we'll start off with Toledo, downtown Toledo, downtown where you've got, a lot of restaurants and, things to do. Like, you've got Fifth Third Field where the Toledo Mud Hens play. You've got Huntington Center where the Toledo Walleye play, where they have concerts. You've got Glass City Center. You've got the Promenade Park where we have concerts. Imagination Station, which is it's a place where, you take kids to and you can explore and do a lot of learning and just a lot of things downtown. We'll dive into downtown Toledo as a whole in another video, but kind of gives you an idea from where we're at. Perrysburg is just southwest, and in comparison, my wife and I, we bought our first home in Perrysburg. I'll show you right where our first home is. And we chose it because my wife was working as a teacher in Bowling Green. I was working as a police officer out here in Oregon. It was kind of like the middle. It was 15 minutes, 20 minutes to both of them. And that's why we stayed in Perrysburg. It's because with my job being in real estate, being 15 to 20 minutes from everything is kind of ideal. It's 15 minutes to a showing in Toledo, 15 minutes from a showing in Bowling Green, 15 minutes from a showing in Oregon. You just can't beat it. So we absolutely love it, and that's why a lot of other people flock to this area, not to include a lot of the other things that make Perrysburg such a great suburb, and we'll go over those as well. So let's just dive right in here. You've got downtown Perrysburg. You can kind of see the old square. This is old Perrysburg. They're usually called the boundaries. So if you ever hear somebody saying, "Oh, I live in the boundaries," or "I live in old Perrysburg," they're talking about you've got west boundary, you got west south boundary, east south boundary, and east boundary, and then the north boundary is Front Street or the river. So old Perrysburg is this big square here. And really, old Perrysburg is 7th Street and up. This was more developed, later on, but, when it was first founded as a city, these were the homes that were here. And that is basically the historic district is all of this down here. So, you've got lots of different things that people absolutely love about Perrysburg. One of them being the old houses you have downtown. So here we'll drop our little guy down here and show you some of the homes here on Front Street. And let's go this way. So, well, I didn't mean to zoom in there. There we go. So we'll just kind of go down Front Street here. You can see some of the older homes. You got St. Rose Parish on the left here. They have the best fish fry in the entire city. Just saying. So Lent comes around, go here for fish. It's all you can eat. It's not super expensive. You can get to go. So we'll call in and say, hey, we need 3 fish dinners and a kid's fish dinner, and go pick it up in a half hour and go home and just smash some fish. It is fantastic. So, like I said, some of the older homes coming down Front Street, you've got, and these are priced wise anywhere from 350 to a million, depending on square footage, how nice it's finished. You know, big chef kitchen if it's been all completely remodeled. Um, we love driving down here and seeing all the old, beautiful homes. And it's on both sides of the road. You've got some old brick homes and stuff, and then you've got Locust Street takes you back out towards 23. But yeah, you can kind of see it. Older homes here. Some bigger ones. You've got the boat ramp that's down here, so we'll just run down here. Maple Street. Excuse me. All right, so you got the Maple Street boat ramp. I can't believe that they went all the way down here. So it's really nice. You can be able to come down here and just launch your boat, park your truck. Oh, they filmed this when it was flooding. Obviously, you can see the river is way up here. There's the where you dock them once you drop them. But kind of a low land down here, but kind of gives you an idea of where everything is. So let's get back out of here. Let's pull this out of there. And go back to our, oh, come on. There we go. So this is the Maple Street boat ramp I was telling you about. These were all those old homes. St. Rose Parish right there. And it's just one of the small things. There's the other thing that we absolutely love about Perrysburg. Not only do you have that boat ramp, you've got another one down here in Orleans Park. Speaking of Orleans Park, the other thing we love is all of the parks. Is all of the parks. So, sorry, I keep coughing here. I'm just getting over a sickness. So, we'll just go through them here, a few of them. You've got Orleans Park, which I'll zoom in. It's their Riverside Park. They're doing a lot more stuff here in Orleans Park. I wonder if you can see the new walking trail. If not, I'll throw in a. How does that make sense? Take us out to the island. I want to go back and see. Drop our guy. Maybe here. So I'll drop in some footage of the old or the new. They don't have it. Didn't go down there. So down here you can kind of see they have the construction stuff. They built a new walking path that goes from Orleans Park all the way to downtown. So they built this walking path over some of the like marshy land, and then it comes back here and goes all behind these houses, this Water Street, and it's a walking path that comes all the way down to Riverside Park. So we'll drop our guy here to Riverside Park. You can kind of see that a little bit better. So here's some of those older homes I was talking about. But here's Riverside Park. They've got a ramp that goes all the way down. I wish they would show that. I mean, I can show you some footage here I'll add in. But they've got steps that go down. You can walk along the river. And that same walking path I was telling you about goes all the way back to behind the Perrysburg Yacht Club and at the bottom of downtown. So here's Riverside Park where we were just at. So that walking trail comes from Orleans Park all the way along the river here. You can see all the back of these big, beautiful houses. It goes to Riverside Park, and then it comes back down here behind the Perrysburg Boat Club, they're calling it. So here's the Perrysburg Boat Club. So there's a nice docking, and then the Yacht Club, and it's at the bottom of Louisiana, where there's another boat dock for public use, and that road comes up to where Louisiana and Front Street meet. So I'll show you where that is downtown so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So down here is Riverside Park. So here's the river, here's the Commodore Perry. So the namesake of the city, Commodore Perry. And Louisiana runs down here, like I had said. It goes down there. There's some boat docks, and They put these retaining walls in a few years back. I obviously haven't updated the photos yet, but it gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. You can go down there, you can walk all the way to Orleans Park. So I tell people, like, hey, the big thing that happens in the summertime is the farmers market downtown. If you can't find parking and you enjoy a nice walk, hey, park at Orleans Park and walk all the way downtown, and then you can have a nice stroll in. You can go in here, you can eat dinner, you can do your shopping, and then you can have a nice leisurely walk back to your car in Orleans Park. You don't have to worry about finding a parking spot and dealing with all the traffic. You can just kind of get and go and just have a nice walk in between. So we'll come back to downtown after we go over the parks here. So let's jump back out. So you've got Riverside Park, Orleans Park. Technically, these are used, taken care of by the Park Service. There are two cemeteries here. We'll go over here. So we live over here now, and there's two parks over here we absolutely love. There's the Rotary Community Park, which is connected to the YMCA, but in there is the inclusive playground. They don't have any pictures of it, so let's drop our guy down here and see if they have an update. Of course I don't. Maybe over here. Nope. So let's click on it again. Maybe there's a better photo I'm just not seeing. No, there's not. So I'll drop in some footage of that so you can see the inclusive playground. But there's tennis courts and pickleball courts here as well. We can drop our guy in here and see if we can see right here. Yeah, so there you go. Here's the Rotary Park. There's tennis courts here. They built a brand new pickleball area over here, and this is just nice big field for whatever you want to use it for. And then their inclusive playground is right over here, and they have a new shelter house as well. I wonder if there's any updated. Yeah, you can see the inclusive playground back here now and the shelter house. But that's all been done in the last few years. So we'll add in some footage of that as well. And let's see if we can switch to, there we go. Yeah, so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Here's the inclusive playground. Zoom in. They've got lots of stuff for all ages. Like I said, connected to the Y, and then here's the pickleball courts. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 pickleball courts, plus the tennis courts. They can also be used as pickleball courts if needed. But that's the Rotary Community Park. And then over here you have Fort Meigs Elementary School, which serves basically this entire area over here. And then you've got the Rivercrest Park, which has soccer fields, and there's a large soccer field and small ones for the little kids. And then you've got a big parking lot, a playground, some baseball fields, another soccer field over here, some more soccer fields back here. It's just a lot of space, a lot of open space. This is packed in the summertime, in the fall, in the spring. You've got kids playing baseball, soccer, all the different things, and it's just packed in here. So we'll zoom out a little bit. We'll go over to our next park. So this one, I was thinking the other day, it's kind of like Central Park in New York City. So it's kind of in the middle of town. It's in Old Perrysburg, in the boundaries, and it is headed off by Toth Elementary School, and that is up here, 7th and Elm, 7th and Locust Street. So that's one of your other elementary schools, and then you've got this big park area. So this is kind of big space for playground for the kids at the school. And you got a couple houses somehow snuck in here, and then you've got the community park basically all the way down to the bottom of until you get to Boundary. There's a few more houses in between South Boundary and the park, but you've got baseball field, a couple more baseball fields. You've got tennis and pickleball courts. Here's your parking lot, the community pool. I don't know if there's any pictures of the pool in the summertime. That's an old photo. So kind of gives you an idea of what the pool is. If you're a citizen of Perrysburg, it is dirt cheap to be a member of the pool. There's only so many passes that get sold every year, so you kind of got to be on top of it. So you can get a whole year pass right from the get-go, right from the city. And then more parking over here. This place gets packed with baseball games and stuff as well. So we'll jump back. We'll head over to my wife and I's arguably our oldest. Well, our old house, it was our favorite park because it was so close. So um, we'll just zoom in here. Our old house was back here on Eastbrook on the end of the cul-de-sac. But here is Frank Elementary School. It's one of the third elementary school. There's four of them here in Perrysburg. And um, it's real close to Bicentennial Park, which also has some playgrounds and a baseball field or a softball field, and then a big walking path or set of walking paths to kind of go all the way around. So my wife and I, we used to walk our dogs, and when our son was born, we would walk him, we would come down here, cross the road, and then we would walk through the whole path and then kind of come back out and go home. So we absolutely loved that. It's just nice open space. We would take our dog throw a frisbee. It's just a good, nice park. There's lots of parks kind of just scattered in Perrysburg, which is super nice. You can always just kind of find something to get to. So we'll zoom back out here so you can see where I'm at. So here's the boundaries. There's the municipal pool and Perrysburg Park. Um, it's not really a park, but you could use it as a park. You've got the Perrysburg Junior High, which was the old high school. Um, and we'll jump to the old middle school before. So after this, but the old high school is now the junior high, and they've got lots of football and soccer fields here. This is where the stadium is, and the Huskisson Athletic Center. I think it's Huskisson Athletic Center, or the Hack they call it. But this is where Perrysburg football, soccer, track and field, all of that is year round. So here's the stadium, and then you've got just all these open fields that you can use for kind of whatever you need to around the year. And then the old middle school, which is now the school board and the administrative offices, is downtown. So you've got downtown Perrysburg, which is right here where the farmers market is. And then you've got the old middle school, which is right here, that has this big open space. They've got concerts and movies here throughout the summertime. Um, so just to kind of give you a little bit of history background there. So we'll jump over to probably one of the biggest parks outside of Rivercrest. Um, you've got Woodlands Park. So I love that almost all of the elementary schools are connected to a park. So outside of Frank, you've got Woodland Elementary School here, connected to Woodland Park, has big walking trails. Now be careful because in the wintertime, that walking trail gets slippery. So because people walk it all the time, so it doesn't get plowed before people start walking on it, so it just creates ice immediately. So another inclusive playground over here. They call it Fort Imagination. Pretty cool spot, especially if you got kids. You can bring them over here. There's a disc golf course over here. They usually have the art walk, and there's always art sculptures that are lying across east boundary here. And you can see, here's the parking lot, and then people can go and play disc golf throughout, and there's a big open space in the middle and the walking path. So it's another nice park that is accessible to everybody. And then you've got Three Meadows Park that is over here. Three Meadows Park comes from basically this pond here is a part of the Orion Institute. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what the Orion Institute is. So if you want to look it up and let me know, that'd be great. But Three Meadows Park, here's the parking lot for it. They have, canoe storage. You can rent canoes and come out here on the pond. They're building a big, sound barrier wall here, which is really nice because the park used to be really loud from the highway. But they're building that sound barrier wall, and they just redid all of the banks and added rocks to the outside so that it's nice and clean and it's accessible. You can go fishing and all the stuff. They have a fishing derby there. They've got this bridge that comes over the walking path, and this neighborhood over here it's called Three Meadows, and you'll have a lot of the people that are here that'll walk over to the park and walk around the pond, and people go swimming in here, and it's just a nice addition to people that are living over this way. So that's kind of all the parks. Let's jump into, um, and if I forgot one, let me know. Those are just like the city parks. I do want to tell you about one more. It's one that is often forgotten about that we absolutely love to go to because it's huge. So you've got it's from the Wood County Park District. So it's the W.W. Knight Nature Preserve. So you come in here off a White Road. So kind of give you an idea where it is. This is still Perrysburg over here. It's kind of like between Perrysburg and Rossford. Um, but here's downtown. So you come down River Road, and then River Road and White Road meet, and you've got the Knight Preserve or the Knight Nature Preserve. And there's a big pond and a bunch of walking paths and lots of woods. You can kind of walk through all of these, which is really cool. The hospice center connects to it, which is nice. But you can come back here. They've got yoga and all these different classes that kind of go on in this uh, clubhouse, if you will. But you can park and you can walk. There's a lot of like wood, walkways that are kind of attached to this, and then it walks all the way around. It comes back out to River Road here if you wanted, so the people over here can just easily jump in. Um, and then they come all the way back through the woods, and it's a neat place because on the weekends it's full of families and kids and stuff. But fun place to go and just walk if you're into the nature and you don't want to go all the way out to like one of the adventure parks or something like that. It's right here in town. And that brings us over here to, um, while we're over here, we'll jump into Belmont Country Club. So my family, my wife and I, we're members out here at Belmont Country Club. We really like it because it's close enough, but it's far enough away that it's not like right on top of us. Um, you have the range and the clubhouse, and then a beautiful golf course, lots of ponds and hazards, and they just put a bunch of money into renovating it in the past couple of years, and they're going to add even more money here in the future. So, um, all this is part of the country club. So, if you're looking for a club to join, one here right in town, Belmont Country Club. So it gives you an idea of where that is compared to the rest of the city. So let's jump into some of the shopping. So you've got downtown, obviously. So let's jump into downtown again. We'll drop our little guy down here. So you've got all of this is getting redone. Actually, let's go down to the other end and I'll show you. So all of downtown is getting renovated. So we'll come down here to the end. You can see where they're at currently. So here's what it used to look like downtown. You had all these trees here, and the farmers market is down here, and you'll have vendors kind of lined up all down these. It's every Thursday from spring to fall. But you have vendors lined up down here, and you can basically see kind of where they're lined up. So this is kind of the updated version of what they're doing. You can see all of this is going to be bricked and concreted, and the library right here, which is another great asset if you're living here in the community. But they're putting in these big planter boxes, and it's going to make it really nice for all the vendors to have like an actual place to put their stuff with a big sidewalk for them. And then as you come down here next year, they're going to do the other side of Louisiana Avenue. So all of this is going to be all torn out and redone. These are going to be torn out and made into big planters. They're going to make some of the parking a little bit smaller, and make the sidewalks bigger. But this is kind of where a lot of the downtown like boutiques and shopping are. Got restaurants down here. If you want a good burger, Perry's Burgers. Absolutely love that place. Wish they were open more because they're closed a couple days out of the week. And then Swig for like wings and hot dogs and other uh, great things. Their thing is charcuterie for the curious, and I love that. But lots of shopping down here. You've got jewelry stores. You've got just like gift shop kind of things. You've got kids clothing. Um, I'd say our favorite store down here is probably Taste of Toledo right here. Um, we love going in there because it always has like different gifts and stuff for the whole family if you really wanted to find something. And then one of our favorite restaurants used to be Stella's, but they just closed down not too long ago. Um, the owners were retiring, and nobody has picked it up yet. Um, and then there's I don't want to, it's not a consignment shop, but it's like, of course it's blocked. It's like secondhand antique vintage groves. We found our light for our dining room in there. Absolutely love it. So that kind of gives you an idea. There's lots of different shopping downtown, and then um, if you come back out here, I can show you some of the other shopping is out this way. So outside of, actual shopping, you've got some of the grocery stores in the area that we utilize often. You've got Casmire's Market downtown. So if you live down here and you're within, if you can walking distance, you can drive down here, close distance to, basically everything downtown. If we're coming through downtown and we need to pick something up, we'll stop at Casmire's. Just a small little market, got just about anything you need. Um, the grocery store we use the most is probably um, Walt Churchill's Market. So, like I said, we live right over here, and my office is down here in Levis Commons, which we'll go over here in a sec. But we probably use Walt Churchill's Market the most. It's just a little grocery store, kind of like Casmire's, but have just about anything you need. Lots of homemade things, homemade cookies, bread, soups, whatever. They have the best soups. Like wintertime, that's like my lunch 3 or 4 days a week is soup from Walt Churchill's. Um, and then as far as the other grocery shopping, if you're not going to be like us and shop at Costco for groceries, which we're nuts, but that's that's just us. You've got the rest of them over here on Route 20. So I'll zoom back out so you can kind of see. So here's downtown Perrysburg. Route 20 comes out here, turns into Route 23. But Route 20 has your Meijer, your Kroger, your Walmart, and then unfortunately we don't have a super Target. Maybe someday, but this is kind of where all of the rest of your shopping is for in Perrysburg, outside of Levis Commons. So this has like your TJ Maxx, your I don't have a Marshalls, but TJ Maxx, your Michaels, your Target, your Home Depot, Lowe's, Hobby Lobby, Office Max, like all the things that have the big things you need outside of a lot of restaurants, lots of fast food and other sit-down restaurants over here. Um, so you've got all of that kind of out here, Route 20. You've got this Amazon distribution center, and then they just built another one right here. So you've got two big Amazon buildings right here. This is technically Rossford, but most people that live here, this is Perrysburg to them because it's so close by. Um, so it kind of gives you the idea of where the rest of the shopping and stuff is outside of Levis Commons. So Levis Commons, that's where my office is, and we're going to do a deep dive into Levis Commons vlog style where I just walk around Levis Commons, kind of show you everything. But here's where my office is right here, and we're pretty much close to all of Levis Commons, which is really nice. But they're building a Chipotle and a tropical smoothie right here. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be so close. But you've got some luxury apartments back here, and then you've got our office, a bank, or an animal hospital, and then you've got your restaurants and shopping all in here. So you've got Bob Evans, and then I think this is a Biaggi's Italian, Agave and Rye Tacos, and then you've got all your shopping from Lovesack to Books A Million to Club Champion if you need to get your golf clubs fit, and then a bunch of different restaurants. We put a Shake Shack in here just a few weeks ago. You've got Bar Louie. You've got a movie theater back here. So big outdoor mall that has been growing and growing and growing. They just put an Anthropologie in, and they're putting in a Lululemon back here. And then they're building another building right here currently. That's going to house the Blue Pacific Grill that's down here, and then that's going to turn into a new restaurant. And then you've got a bunch of the other really good restaurants here locally are back in here. So you've got like Basil Pizza, you've got Hangover Easy, which is an amazing breakfast place. Claude's Bistro, it's not Prime Seafood anymore, it's like a bistro. And then Benchmark right across the street, which is, Benchmark and Claude's are owned by the same owner. But Benchmark is our favorite restaurant in Perrysburg. And then you've got Nagoya Hibachi. Um, you also got some different options for living in here. So you've got Preston Gardens, that's kind of luxury apartments. And then you've got Mosaic, some more luxury apartments. And then you've got the Brownstone Village, which is here. So I'll drop us down into Brownstone Village and we'll kind of explore a little bit of uh, Levis Commons from ground level. So Brownstone Village, they look like brownstones in New York City. Um, but these things are beautiful. They've got a condo association that takes care of the lawn and the snow. Can be super expensive for the area for what they are, but if you're looking to downsize and just be, in a condo, might be the right fit for you. They don't come up for sale very often, so when they do, if you want one, you got to jump on it. But they're nice restaurants. I'm sorry, nice places to live, and they're real close to Levis Commons is right here. And all of this will be developed at some point, but like I said, it's growing and growing. I would love to see a Trader Joe's go in. They really need to put a parking garage in, so maybe eventually. So here's the clock tower for Levis Commons, and then you can kind of see. Let's move over a little bit. Uh, Levis Commons, if you will. So I think you can see the new construction here at one point. Let's see. I love how Google Maps stitches this stuff together. So yeah, that is sold, and they're building a big building here. You can't see at the moment. But then here's kind of the rest of the stores. That's where the Shake Shack is. This is where they put the Christmas tree in the wintertime. And then you got all your other stores, just Starbucks and Big B Coffee. I'm sorry, I think Big B's gone. They got Starbucks and Bear's Bagels, and then all your other stores and everything else kind of piled throughout here. So, like I said, we'll do another deep dive of that here in the future. But that's Levis Commons. It kind of rounds out like the shopping in Perrysburg. Um, Another big thing that people are come to Perrysburg for, if you're not moving here or living here, is Belmere Suites. Um, my wife and I, we stayed there one time. We had to try it, right? It's just an interesting location, but once you're in there, it's beautiful. They've got like hotel rooms with pools and like spas in them, and it sits on this lake. The only downside is you can hear the highway from there, and you're kind of surrounded by industrial. So it's kind of interesting. But once you get in there, it's really cool because you get your own garage. You pull right in, close the garage door, and then you're like in your own private sanctuary for however long you're staying. Um, so we'll scroll out here and we'll kind of hit some of the new construction that's kind of in this section out here and jump into one of these neighborhoods. We'll maybe jump into my neighborhood and kind of show you what it's like back in here. So a lot of the new construction happens out in this part of town. So you've got a lot of Buckeye construction. Excuse me. Buckeye Homes is back here. And then you've got Saba Home Builders back here, and then McCarthy Home Builders back here. So let's drop into Hawthorne, which is a Saba construction. So Hawthorne, you come in off of Roachton Road. I guess I can show you where Roachton is. So Roachton Road is kind of a big connector for a lot of people. It comes from River Road, comes right by Levis Commons, and you can get to the other stuff on Route 20 real easy. So Roachton comes over here, and you can come up to Route 20 either from Thompson Road, which cuts off Perrysburg and Rossford, and you can kind of get to all the shopping that way. So if we're going over here, we're either taking River Road through downtown, or we're coming out and going Roachton to over here. So we'll jump back in here. Sorry, jump back into Hawthorne. So you can kind of see the entrance here. Come out from Roachton Road. You got Hawthorne. This is a Saba Home Builders. So, lots of beautiful homes back here. They're one of the more premier builders in the Toledo metro area, especially in Perrysburg. Built some beautiful houses, and they're completely expanding. I think there's two more plats back here they're still building. So that's, Hawthorne kind of gives you an idea. Then you have Canterbury, which is another Sabab construction, and they are kind of like coming off of like the master plan communities, like down in Texas and some of the bigger areas. But they're like putting in like a clubhouse and a pool and um, like this is all houses now, so that's pretty cool. But you come in and they're putting, I want to say they're putting the pool. I don't want to misspeak, but I mean it's going to be in a central location for the entire neighborhood. But it kind of gives you an idea of Canterbury, some bigger houses made by Saba, um, but beautiful homes. So another idea of what Saba's building. We can jump out here to McCarthy. So they have some family homes. A lot of them are like villas with three-car garages. People downsizing from big houses or buying these villas, and they're like three-bedroom ranches. But they build some good, beautiful houses out here as well. They're a good builder as well. Um, so it kind of gives you an idea. Backs up onto a little pond, but um, this is McCarthy, and then it comes out to Riverview. So I can kind of show you where we're at here once I back out. So here's McCarthy, and then Riverview comes out to River Road, and it runs back up. There's Roachton that takes you back into town. So here's downtown. These are way out here. um, we can jump into, so this is the Sanctuary, another one of the big subdivisions that there's lots of different builders in there, but houses back here are like anywhere from 7 to 2 million. So we'll just kind of drop in here. You can kind of see some of the houses back here. There's, like I said, they're still selling. Here's a Danbury sign. Still selling lots, still building back here. Some of them are built in 25, some of them are built in 2004. But it's still expanding as we speak. So that's the Sanctuary back here. There's Carrington Woods, which is another like very mature neighborhood. Um, I like to come back here on Forest Gate because it's kind of not a part of the Sanctuary, but a lot of people think it is. Lots of big houses back here on Forest Gate. Of course, you can't get back there. Um, so I'll show you, our neighborhood from street view. We'll just go right past our house. Um, so this is Greenville Drive, River Road's out here. Come in, and then they still have our old tree in front of our house. Oh, skipped it. So this is our house. This is before we lived there because that's not our truck. We put a new driveway in and whatnot, but that tree's gone. So kind of gives you an idea of some of the neighborhoods here in Perrysburg. I'll hit downtown-ish. Um, let's hit like Cherry Street. Some older homes, ranches, some 2 stories. It kind of gives you an idea of what old Perrysburg is in the boundaries. That house just sold not too long ago. But these ranches sell for like 300 plus. Um, so kind of gives you an idea of the different options in Perrysburg. You can live out a little bit, pay a little bit more money for a bigger house. You can live in town and get, a big house that's been added onto a bunch of times, or a small ranch, or however you want to kind of look at it. Excuse me. All right, so let's back out here. What else do we need to cover about Perrysburg? Perrysburg has one of the top school districts in the state when it comes to, school districts. We live here because of that. We don't mind paying the taxes because our son's going to go there someday. Um, we love the location. It's close to everything, and we love the location. It's close to everything, and it's just a nice place for us to settle down with our family, and we feel a lot of other people are the same way. So um, stick around for some more videos, and we'll head her out. All right, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to post new videos every week, and next time we're going to jump into Sylvania on the map, and we're going to deep dive into Sylvania and what to do and what not to do if you're moving to or around the Toledo, Ohio area. All right, see you next time.